Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shir Atali Baruch Hashem. Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Bamidbar. We always read Bamidbar always before Shavuos. It always works out that way, Baruch Hashem. Almost all the time, and it's a very important reason to know that every Yid counts. We were Be'ish Echad, Belev Echad. When it came to Har Sinai, we all have to be together with Achdus, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing. To bring big Yeshuas for Klal Yisrael, we need Achdus. Okay. Today we're working on the Sefer Sratim Lachem Baruch Hashem. And today is Hayom Shiva V'Arbaim Yom Shem Shisha Shavuos V'Chamisha Yomim Loim. Okay, today's the 47th day, 6 weeks and 5 days into the Yomer. Can you believe that? We started with one. Right? Remember, guys? We started with one. Unbelievable. Today's the Midah of Hod Sheba Malchus. Hod. Giving thanks, giving Haidah, praising, all connected to Aaron HaKohen. Right? Aaron HaKohen is the Midah of Hod. And Malchus is David HaMelech. And he has a lot of things to say on this one. So let's see what he says. Ben Adam Lamakai. Yitin Adam Alibai. Person should pay attention and place into the heart. Ki kidei sheyizker lahamlech es habayis barach hasheichem nishmasai. If you want to coronate Hashem, you want to make Hashem your king, that He dwells in your neshama. He's part of your neshama. Your neshama is a chelik aleika, as a piece of Hashem. And the neshama is al gufay, right, on your body, right? We're only alive because we have our neshama. You have to give thanks to Hashem. You have to constantly thank Hashem. Sometimes today we're just busy complaining, but we forget to say thank you, right? It's such an important thing. All the things that we have. It's so important to always be thanking Hashem. We all have so much good in our lives, and we just have to focus, and we have to just look into it. The Yetzer Hara wants us to see anything that we're lacking in our lives. But really our job is to thank Hashem for everything that we have. And Baruch Hashem, we all have a lot. So we all have a lot to thank Hashem for. And he says, "Befrat yishtadel loheidos b'chatzois halayla." If you can get up at night, at chatzois, tikkun little chatzois, right? V'sishbachos. And why is that? Because David HaMelech did that, right? David HaMelech used to get up every night. He had his harp. Remember we learned that? He had his beautiful harp, and he placed it on the windowsill, and he had the window open, and exactly at Chatzos, it would start to ring. It would start to play a melody. Is that something so special? Huh? He had special technology. His harp technology. Seifa Yiska Lisalois al Yedei Midas Hamalchus Hakadoisha. Shekein Anu Maitzin Shedavid Zacha Bezois LeMelucha. And this is how David HaMelech got his Malchus. David HaMelech was Zeicha to the Malchus because he was always thanking Hashem. And let's remember something. When he was born, he was a little boy, he had a very difficult life. Right? He had a very difficult life. His family rejected him. Could you imagine today a child like that? Could you imagine today's day? Right? Kids today, they have all complaints on their parents when things are good in the house. Right? Yeah. When things are good and they have everything they need, they still complain. They still complain about it. David HaMelech was thanking Hashem. Thanking Hashem. Unbelievable. Yeah, when Shmuel HaNavi came and he asked Yishai to he wants to see his boys. He didn't even bring David HaMelech wasn't even there. He didn't even invite David. He didn't consider him his son. Unbelievable. But David HaMelech was still thanking Hashem for what he had, because again, that we learned that David HaMelech only has his life. He realized he was living literally on borrowed time. He was not supposed to be born. He wasn't supposed to be born alive. He was supposed to be a stillborn. He was supposed to be born a Nephil. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu granted him the 70 years that Adam Arishan gave to him. He understood it and he appreciated that. Okay. So now you see you can be mashli, you can fulfill the midah of malchus through haidah, through giving thanks to Hashem. You can acquire the malchus, you can fix the malchus, you can fulfill the malchus via the midah of haid. Now he says something so beautiful over here, like this. He says now, right? You merit to give tzedakah, right? That's a beautiful thing, right? Right? Giving tzedakah is a beautiful thing, right? All right. La'aniyim v'dalim. If you're giving a tzedakah to impoverished people, dalim, destitute people, yarba litein haidol ha'bari yisbarach al shezichiu lekach. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu merited us to be able to give that money. Wait a second. Think about it for a second. That we weren't the ones that had to ask for the money. Hashem put us on the giving end. That's pretty good, right? We all would like to have more money. Everyone likes to have more money, right? But we have money to give for tzedakah. It's pretty good, right? Sharei Oimrei b'Zayir HaKadosh. The Zayir HaKadosh says like this, and listen to these words. These are beautiful words. Ki es asher yahav Hashem, he who Hashem loves, v'chafetz l'tzchusai b'dayrin, and he wants to give that person a gift. Shaylech le'ani lebeisai. He sends an ani. He sends a impoverished person to the person's door. You hear this? If Hashem wants to give you a gift, he sends an ani, a poor person, to your door. He wants to give you a gift. Now we look at it, we're giving the ani the gift. No, Zayah says the opposite. Hashem is giving you a gift by sending you the ani to your door. How many of us think of it that way?
No.
Oh, come on, this guy had to come now. Now. No, but wait a second. What is it? The Zohar is saying that if Hashem wants to give you a present, he sends you the honey. So then if Hashem's giving you a present, you certainly have to give thanks to Hashem. It's very eye-opening. It's just so important to understand these things because we grow up and we view things in a certain way, but the question is, are we viewing them in the right way? Do we have the right perspective on things? Right? Do we have the right perspective on things, or is it the other way around? That Hashem is giving you the gift by sending you the person to give the money to. You hear that? So now you can fulfill the midah of malchus. Right? You can fulfill the midah of malchus through the haidah again. Thanking Hashem. Thanking Hashem for all the opportunities that He gives us in our lives. All the goodness. Via doing that, of course, you'll take on the old malchus shemayim. When you realize how good Hashem is, you want to follow Hashem's rules. You want to follow what He wants for us. And again, all the things Hashem asks us to do, it's only for our ultimate good. Hashem doesn't need our service. He gives us these things to do because it's good for us. Let me ask you a question. People try to understand the mitzvahs. They try to understand, why does Hashem need me to do this? Why does He need me to do that? When you go to a doctor, right? And the doctor asks you, tells you, you need this and take this medication for 10 days and so on. You take it. You don't ask questions. And if you ask a question to the doctor says, listen, I went to medical school. I understand the chemistry in the body. You don't. And based on your symptoms, based on your situation, this is what you need. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what we need. He knows what we need. We don't understand what we need. So why are we going to ask Hashem? Why are we going to ask Hashem and question Hashem? How can we question HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You understand what we're saying here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a story once. A rabbi was giving a class in a college setting. You know, one of these college settings, right? Hear this? And and they were trying to disprove the Torah, the mitzvahs, the students there. They wanted to disprove it. So the lady gets up and she says, "Why should I don't do things. I don't do things that I don't understand. If I don't understand it, I don't do it." So the rabbi says to her, "Okay, let me ask you a question." The rabbi says, "When you have a headache, what do you do?" What does that have anything to do with anything? Rabbi, what are you asking me? What I do when I have a headache? I'm just asking you a simple question. You said that you only do things you understand. So what do you do when you have a headache? Well, I take Tylenol, aspirin, I take the Motrin or whatever. Why? Why do you take it? Well, I don't know. It works. That's what they tell me to do. I take it. It works. So he said, but can you explain to me how it's working? Do you understand what it's doing? No. So why do you take it? You just said to me, you don't do things you don't understand. You hear this? But when you have a headache, you're taking an aspirin, but you don't understand why you're taking what the aspirin's actually doing for you to help you. So much so, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what we need, and Hashem wants the best for us. He wants the best for us. He knows what we need. That's why He gives us the mitzvahs, the masim tovim, the chukim. He gives us all the beautiful things for us to do because it's ultimately good for us. Whether we understand it, that's not important. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is kind and merciful. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world in chesed. Olam chesed yibane. It's all chesed. So if you just trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's all we need to do. And it's unbelievable that people can think that they don't want to do things that they don't understand. Here, we learned this thing about the tzedakah, right? You give, the ani comes to you. Realize for a second, wait a second, Hashem is doing something for me, is giving me a present by sending this ani, that I can give him some money, because it's good for me. Yes, the ani needs the money, and Hashem has his situation. Why was this ani coming to your door and all of that? That's all part of the hashgacha pratis that Hashem has. What connection do I have with this person? Hashem knows that. I have no idea. But if he came to my door, right? If he came to my door, I know that that's something special. And thank Hashem for sending the ani and every mitzvah that we have. Thank Hashem that He allow us to do the mitzvah. Okay?
You know what's good about that also?
What's good about it?
You don't have to figure out who to give it to when you're ready to give tzedakah.
And then he says one more thing. If you want to have the kedusha of Shabbos, who doesn't want to feel the holiness of Shabbos? Everyone wants to feel the holiness of Shabbos, right? Do we want to feel it? You want your children, you want your spouse, you want your friends to understand and feel the beauty of Shabbos. Give a lot of praise and thanks to Hashem. Give thanks to Hashem. You hear this? Give thanks to Hashem. B'chol Sudas Shabbos, on each one of the Sudas of Shabbos. Right? You're having a Suda of Shabbos, right? You're sitting eating your meal on Shabbos. Wow, Hashem. Could you believe? Hashem, it's a commandment to eat my Suda here. Wow. I'm getting schar, I'm getting credit for eating my Suda. I love this stuff. This is great. And you're also giving me, you're also giving me reward for partaking in the Suda. It's very easy to thank Hashem on Shabbos. Very easy. So again, Shabbos, Shabbos is the midah of Malchus, right? Shabbos is the midah of Malchus, right? Shabbos is the Malka, Shabbos Malchus, right? Shabbos is the whole idea of a special time. So how do you attain the Kedusha of Shabbos? Thanking Hashem on Shabbos. Thanking Hashem for giving us Shabbos. Thanking Hashem for letting me come and having a beautiful tefillah on Shabbos. Right? And experiencing a beautiful tefillah, experiencing the beautiful Sudas of Shabbos. And when I learn something on Shabbos, if I have an understanding, thank Hashem for that. That'll help us attain more Kedusha and it'll bring us to the Malchus of Hashem. Okay? I think we understand this midah now. I think it's something so very, 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 very nice. As far as I'm concerned, it's something very, very, very special. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to Likutey Halachos, okay? So that's the midah of Hoid Sheba Malchus. I'm going to miss this every day. Okay. Beautiful. All right, so now we're learning Likutey Halachos. We're in Hilchos Netilas Yadayim. And we're in Halacha Vav now, 6. How do you like that? We're up to already 6. We're moving along. And we did Aleph yesterday. Today we're going to do Beis. All right, so yesterday we learned this new concept based on lesson 7 in the second book of Likutey Moharan. Okay? This idea of the yadayim, the hands, and the hand motion, right? Motions of the hands. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important to see hands and to see the motions of the hands. And we explained that sometimes you can explain something with the hands that even the words can't do. The motion that you make sometimes can mean so much, right? Motion you make, like the savlanut, right? That David just did that. You see the savlanut, right? It's a motion you make with your hand that it's hard to explain it, but you understand it. You understand? It's something so special. Now we're gonna switch now. What? Bays, two. Now we're gonna go back to washing our hands in the morning. Right? We talked about the bread, but we're just gonna switch a little bit now. We're gonna come back, of course. And he says bays like this. And that's the idea when we get up in the morning. Right, we have to wash our hands, right? It's the first thing we do. We say Modani, and then you go wash your hands, correct? That's the first thing that we do in the morning. Kisheina echad mishishim b'misa. The Gemara in Brachas says on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Beis that sleep is a 60th of death. Did you know that? Sleeping is a 60th of death. V'his oirus hashena hu bechinas tchias ameisa. Oh, wait a second. When you get up from bed, that's an aspect of resurrection of the dead. Did you realize that either? No. Well, why? Why not? Because we say in the bracha shemevarchen al hamachzin neshamayis livkarim mesim. Right? We make a blessing every morning, right? What's the blessing we say? Hamachzin neshamayis, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings back the souls. Brings back the neshamayis. The souls livkarim mesim to the cadavers, the dead bodies. And he puts the soul in the body and makes the body awaken again. It becomes alive. Is that amazing to understand that?
Does that mean that our soul is leaving us?
Yeah, soul leaves every night. The soul goes up, and then the soul comes back. And then we say the Modani. Modani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayem, shechazarta bi nishmasi. You gave me back my soul. Shechazarta bi nishmasi. Well, if it never left, then you didn't give it back to me. Right? Right, yeah. Oh, it's in the words, right? Shechazarta bi nishmasi, because the soul leaves the body. Unfortunately, sometimes people go to sleep and the soul doesn't come back. That's why it's so important we say Modani in the morning. We thank Hashem, the first thing we do. The first way is, oh, thank you Hashem. Modani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayem. I'm praising you, I'm thanking you that you gave me back my soul. Again, we said about praise, right? The whole idea today is the Hod Shema Malchus, right? Praising Hashem, right? No, in other words, we say the bracha, right? We're saying that bracha, the Hamachsen Neshama is Livgarim Mesim, right? What does Livgarim mean? Shalom, what's the types for Livgarim? A cadaver?
It was a cadaver,
Dead bodies, dead bodies, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, the Shalom agrees. See, I'm happy for Hashem. And therefore, you have to purify your hands with what? Water. Water. You need to use water. Because when I get up in the morning, it's an aspect of death. So I have to wash my hands. That's the separation. Look at these words. That's the peirud bein hanefesh v'aguf. That's the separation between the nefesh, the soul, and the body. That's what death is, right? The death is you have a body without a soul. In other words, the body doesn't change. The body's still the same body, but the body doesn't have the soul, and it's just a body. Shemisham achizas hasitra, and that's where the other side, the evil inclination, has his hold. That's why it's so imperative when you get up in the morning, the first thing you do is you wash your hands before you touch any openings on your body. You don't want to touch anything. You don't want to touch anything because your hands are impurity. You don't want to spread the impurity all over your body. Because we said that the impurity goes out through the hands. Tumah is oiches biyadayim, right? It's oiches biyadayim. So the body has impurity, but the impurity leaves via the hands. So that's why it's so imperative, it's so crucial that we wash our hands, because we want to remove that tumah, that impurity. Because if you don't remove that tumah, so then you have the impurity. That's the sitra achra. You're inviting him to come all over your body, and then it's going to be very, very hard. So the first thing we do is we wash our hands. And therefore the Zayah says, when a person goes to sleep, the impurity is on his hands. Yadoi. Daika specifically on the hands. And therefore, therefore when I get up from my sleep, and the neshama comes back to me. This is happening every morning. Every morning. This is the process that happens. That's why we're new people every day. Because the neshama left, and it came back again. Now you can understand it. Right? The neshama was there, the neshama left, the neshama came back. Rav Nosson trying to teach us this idea, Machadesh b'tuvay b'chidush oilam. Wait a second, I was just a cadaver, now I'm alive. I'm new. Right? So then the neshama comes back, and it's mechaber, it joins, it binds back with the guf. Then Hashem holds it in there. Because the neshama says, oh no, I'm coming to this body, oh no. But Hashem said, no, you stay right there. You stay right there. That's what we were learning yesterday. That's the binding the uppers to the bottom. Dare mala, dare mata. Right? We have the upper side, which is where the neshamas are, the angels are. Dare mata is down here in this world where the guf is, where the body is. We bind the two together. The upper world and the lower world. The neshama from the upper world to the guf in the bottom, in the lower world. We bind the two together. That happens every day when the neshama comes back to us. Right? The neshama leaves us. That's the separation between the neshama and the guf. When it comes back, that's connecting the upper world again to the lower world. That's the main shleimus, that's the main fullness, completeness. And therefore we have to wash our and purify our hands. B'mayim shenimshachim b'bechinas zeh hayom godol urechav yadayim. Says in the hill in the pasuk. Zayam Gadol. That's the great water. The great water, the great sea, the great yam, the great ocean. Urachav, it's very, very wide, Yadayim. Kisham Klolius Ailamais. That's the Kisham Iker Klolius Ailamais. Shem Bechina Shtei Yadayim. B'Yama Godol. That's when I take my two hands together. Right? We said that the two hands together is there are 14 joints in each hand, and together you get the 28, the number 28, which is Kayach. Kayach Masav Higil Yamai. Right? The whole idea of Kayach is connecting the two together. That's the main tahara, and that's the main kedusha. Ki ikar shleimus hakedusha hu kishenechlolin ha'ilama yachad. The main kedusha is when you join the worlds together. Join the upper world to the lower world. Bring them together. During the day we wash our hands for the bread. We're picking our hands up. When I do that, I'm connecting myself to the upper waters to bring it down in this world. I want to join the two worlds together. Chinas Sham, Shezeh Bechinas Kedusha Sayadayim Yamin is small. That's why the Kedusha of the hands is Yamin and small. Shenechlolim Yachad, they're together. And we said yesterday we want to join the left and the right together. Right? We want to join the left, the side of Gevura, together with the side of Chesed. That's what we say when we do mitzvahs. You want to try to bring the two together. Specifically the mitzvah of tzedakah, like we were just learning before in the Sfatem Lachem. When you're giving the money, the body, the guf says, no, I need the money for myself. I need the money. We need to buy things for ourselves. Why are you giving out that money? Why are you giving away the money? That's why I say, you know what? That's what you think, guf? Here, give. You see, I'm going to take the left, which is connected to the body. I'm going to put the money in the left hand with my right hand. I'm going to give it together. I'm going to bring the two together. I'm going to bring the two sides together. That's how I have a completeness. Doing things together, including the left with the right. Okay, again, you always give preference, in halach, you always give preference to the right side. There's always a preference to the right side, but you can certainly do the right side together with the left side as well. Okay, did anyone have any questions on this idea? Any questions on this idea? Did anyone realize that when we get up in the morning, our soul left us and it came back to us, and you really recharged now? Right? Something beautiful to think about, right? It's in the words. Sometimes we don't think about the words we're saying. But here it's waking us up to realize the words that we're saying, how beautiful the words really are. Any questions? No? Nothing? No comments? No questions today? Wow. Everyone's quiet today. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go to Gimel. Okay? So now we're going to switch to Purim. Wow. See, Rav Natsan always takes us on these tangents. Right? It's Erev Shavuos, but we're going to learn about Purim. Isn't that nice? Agan Shal Purim, right? We want the whole year should be Purim, the Nisim of Purim, right? Here he says like this, something so special. Here we go. Gimel. Zeh Bechinas Purim. And this is an aspect of Purim. Shulach no klipas haman amalek, shul bechinas kefiras kamuva b'devarav. Because the whole idea of Purim and the klipa of Haman, the husk of impurity of Haman is what? Is Amalek. Right? And that is the whole idea is to bring kfira, heresy, denial of Hashem in the world. They want to deny Hashem. V'ika kfiras hayedei hakushois al sheroitzin lohavim b'seichel klolius oilam hazeh ba'oilam haba eichem nichlolin. They want to understand how is this world connected and bound to the next world. They want to understand that. But you can't understand that because this world is physical, the next world is not. The next world is infinite. There's nothing in the next world that we can understand. We don't really understand why when I do a mitzvah, when I'm learning Torah, how I'm binding this world to the next world. Right? We talk about it. But does anyone really understand how that works? The Sefer Sipuri Maisias in Sichas Aran Simin Mem. Minyan Hadredel. How you like that? Now we have Hanukkah. Huh? Look at that. Purim and Hanukkah. Rebbe has a beautiful, beautiful lesson in Sichas Aran. Okay, those are the talks that Rabbi Nachman gave, right? It's in lesson 40. It's in talk 40. And it talks over there about the dreidel. The dreidel, dreidel, the sivivon, right, that we play, right? Meaning galgal hachayzer. The Rebbe says over there that the world is a galgal hachayzer. It's a spinning world. It's galgal. It's like almost the way I understand the galgal hachayzer, it's like a Ferris wheel. The world is like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, you get onto a Ferris wheel, right? Anyone ever went on a Ferris wheel? Right? So you get on the bottom, and the next thing you know, you're on top. Right? And then someone else gets on. Then you go back around, and now you're on the bottom. That's a galgal hachayzer. It's a wheel that's turning. And sometimes you have the things that are on top are now on the bottom, and the things from the bottom are now on top. You understand that? Down, up, and down. The whole world is a galgal hachayzer. He gives the example over there. Here, what I was going to say now. The main process of this idea of the galgal hachayzer happened in the Mishkan in the Beis HaMikdash. How did that happen? Look, you brought in the Beis HaMikdash. Guys, pay attention. You brought in the Beis HaMikdash a carbon. You brought an animal, right? You brought an animal to the Beis HaMikdash. An animal, that's something from this world. An animal is something from this world. And what does it say? Isha reach nichayach l'Hashem. It's a pleasing, delightful odor, aroma for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it means the carbon from down here goes up on high. They go up on high. And then we had malachim that came from up on high that came down here. Right? The angels, that came to Avraham Avinu. Right? We had the angels. The angels came from Avraham Avinu. The three angels came to visit Avraham Avinu. Ayin Shabal came. Haya Anes Ayidei Mordechai Shenosan Leiv Listakel Al Aroma Mozim Shemarames Lanu Hashem Yisbarach B'Choleis. And therefore, the whole miracle happened with Mordechai. Because Mordechai taught us how to view the remazim, those hints, those subtle hints that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is constantly sending us. He's constantly sending us hints. Shemarames lanu Hashem yisbarach b'chol eis, that Hashem is constantly sending us. K'may sheperish Rashi al pasuk. Rashi says on the pasuk that Mordechai every day would go out every day. Lifnei achotze, he would go out in front of the chotze beis hanoshim, to the place where the ladies were being held. Ladase shaloim Esther, to find out about the well-being of Esther Amalka. She was held over there. She was in that beis hanoshim, the beis noshim. Uma yaseba. And what's happening over there? And this is one of the two tzaddikim. Shehem David and Mordechai. Both David and Melech. Isn't it so beautiful? We just learned this is the week of Malchus, right? And today is the Malchus Haidah, is Haid Sheba Malchus. You have in here David and Melech. David and Melech is Malchus. Mordechai. Shal Yedei K'maisha Kosav. Esther Magedes, Esther told over to Mordechai, and Mordechai Yoshe b'Shara Melech. Mordechai was sitting in the Shara Melech. Hameramza al Kach. That was the hint of what was going on. Not to know that Esther was not giving over where she came from. Esther didn't want to tell what nation she was from, who she was from, where she was from. Esther didn't want to tell that. It was a hint. Val Kain, Kol Kavanosam Lahara Shal Achashverosh V'Haman. The whole wickedness of Achashverosh and Haman, Haya Levata Lavedis Beis Hamikdash. Their whole idea was to be mevatel the Beis Hamikdash. They didn't want the Beis HaMikdash to be rebuilt. It was the end of the 80 years, and the Golus was supposed to be 80 years. But they knew that, and they wanted to do anything they could to prevent the Beis HaMikdash from being built. The same way we have it today. Today we have the Hamas, they make the flood of the Al-Aqsa. Right? Their wars, the flood of the Al-Aqsa against, they're petrified in the Beis HaMikdash. They're petrified. Petrified. They're petrified. If a Jew walks up on their Temple Mount, they're petrified. He may say something, he may cause the Beis HaMikdash come back again. Right? The guy wants to bring his little animal on the thing. You're not allowed to bring your little sheep. You're not allowed to bring your little goat on the Temple Mount. If you do that, you broke the law. They're scared. As the holy Arizal writes in Priyetz Chaim in Shara Purim, the whole idea of the down and the up, and this whole idea of binding the two together was in the Beis HaMikdash, like we said. Like we said, Hashem sent the fire down from up on high down. We sent the animal from down here up. We're binding the two together. The fire from up on high, the animal from down here went up. The two worlds together, being bound together in the Beis HaMikdash, Ayadei Karbonos, through the sacrifices, Shemachaprim. Those were the sacrifices that were there to atone for us. Right? They brought the sacrifices to bring atonement for us. That's why they were brought. As the Rebbe says in that Sicha Mem, in Sicha Saran, right? The Al Kain, his Goru, his Beis HaMikdash. Therefore, they did anything they could in order to prevent the building of the Beis HaMikdash. They didn't want that because they said there's no such a thing as connecting this world to the next world. Hashem's in the next world. It has nothing to do with this world. He's God up there. We're down here. What does he have to do with this world? Hashem's too busy for this world. We learned about that, right? They said they didn't want this idea because the Beis HaMikdash brought the two together. A fascinating idea. Mamish, a fascinating idea. Okay, I think we're going to stop over here. We're going to pick this up on Sunday. We'll pick this up on Sunday. We'll do Dalit on Sunday. Erev Shuas Emirtz Hashem. Let's learn the halacha in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And now we're learning the halachas of the Shliach Tzibur, which is 21. 20. We're in Siman Chaf. We're in Siman Chaf. Okay, 20. And today we're up to 2. All right, 20 and 2. So he says like this today. B'chazares tefillah Shliach Tzibur. All right, when you finished your silent prayer, right? So then the Shliach Tzibur, how do you say the Shliach Tzibur? The messenger from the community, the Shliach Tzibur, right? He, because then when he's saying over his Shmoneh Esrei, Kiven Shliach Tzibur Kvar Ispalo B'fnei Atzmai B'lachash. Listen to these words. This is very fascinating. And the Shliach Tzibur is only saying the prayer now for those that are listening. He said his own prayer himself. Right? The Shliach Tzibur, he's repeating the Shmoneh Esrei. Right? He said he fulfilled his obligation. The same way you said the Shmoneh Esrei, you fulfilled your obligation, I fulfilled mine, we all fulfilled ours. He's now saying it for the benefit of the people. All right? And therefore there has to be at least 9. Listen to this. There has to be at least 9 Shomim V'Oinim. Listening, 9 people listening and answering him.
Oh, so it says right there in Halakha.
9!
9, not 6. Right?
Not 6, 9! Shaloi tiyena b'chaisav levatola. So therefore his brachas he makes shouldn't be in vain. It's a big avera to say a bracha in vain. A very big avera. To say Hashem's name in vain, right? It's in the Aseres Adibras. right? It's the second, the third. It's the third one. You can't use Hashem's name in vain. Don't use Hashem's name in vain. Correct? So now the guys think he's so smart. Oh, there's 6 guys here, and 2 of them are still. One of them is in the middle of doing whatever he's doing, and the other one is about to walk out. But the 6, I can start. Does he realize what he's doing? He could be bringing the biggest curses upon himself for using Hashem's name in vain. Because he's trying to save 3 minutes. It's scary. This is scary. Right?
It's scary even because not everybody, I don't know, not everybody, if you have 10 there, and he's one, that leaves 9, the other 9 may not all be paying attention.
But he did his part. In other words, he's saying now, you wait for everybody, and it was a minyan of 10. And he waits for everyone to finish. Then he starts. Listen, then it becomes a responsibility to people not to cause him to stumble.
I see.
Right, you understand? Listen, you can only do what you can do. Hashem, if I did what I'm supposed to do and someone else didn't do the right thing, Hashem's not going to charge me against that. But if I started the tefillah before there was 9,
then I'm bringing it on me.
Then it's upon me. It's not on them. You understand? V'loi dami l'mashe kosav in simin tezvav simin zayin v'lachen kishiyesh minyan mitzumsam. And therefore, when you have a very small minyan, mitzumsam, 10 people, 11 people, very small minyan, tzrichen lashkiach shelo yaschil shliach tzibur chazoras hatfilah ad sheyigmaru kulan, until they all finish. Kulan, what does kulan mean? All. Tzilaseyem sheyuchlu la'anais, that they can answer. I don't know. It's very clear. It's very, very clear. Let's think about
why. At a time in the United States, when I would do mincha mari, mincha, I would look at it, and not knowingly, I would wait for all the people to be finished. Why? I mean, that means if you stop or you start when something's not finished, that means they're not finished.
They're not finished, and then you're not giving them the opportunity to say the Kedusha. You're not giving them the opportunity to say Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish. It's not fair. You understand? It's not being fair, being sensitive to other people as well. I don't know. We have to institute this in our minyan. I'll make a sign. I'll put a sign up there. This is what it says in Torah. Listen, this is not an opinion. This is not my view. This is what it clearly says. Is that right? Did I read it right, Shalom? Do you agree with that?
Because sometimes if we have 12 in here at Nate's, that means he has to wait for everybody.
No, he has to have at least 9. No. You don't have to wait. You have to wait. A minyan mitzumsa means is 10. Minyan mitzumsa means a small minyan is 10 people.
Yeah.
That's a small minyan. 10 people, you have to wait for 9. If there's 20 people, there's some people, like you were saying yesterday, Shalom, you have to wait for 20 people because you want to make sure. That's what you were telling me yesterday, right? So what were you saying yesterday? Who was that? Who was the one that said that? Okay, it was a Rosh Yeshiva. Shalom was telling me that he didn't want to start saying the Shliach, he didn't want to be a Shliach Tzibur and start the Shliach until he had 20 people that finished. He had a bigger minyan, of course, because he wanted at least 9 people who are going to answer. If you have 20, so at least you have to say at least, so I need at least 50% will answer, hopefully will answer. At least 50% answer. I'm not saying a bracha levatala. Yeah, he was very careful about this. That's why he did that. Okay, here we go. Okay, we should all be zaycha to daven in a minyan where the Shliach Tzibur, whenever we have the Shliach Tzibur, is very, very sensitive to everyone's feelings, to everyone, and he's not so sensitive to his clock, and this, we have to finish by a certain time. That's nonsense. We're davening. When we're davening, we're not in time. Davening transcends time. Davening transcends time. We're not in the world. We're leaving the world. We learn. We go up to the world. We're out of time and space and everything else. So we don't have to look at the watch. Many rabbanim have a thing. They would never want to have a clock in the shul. They wouldn't want a clock in the shul because again, I'm davening. What do I care? I daven. It has to come from the heart. It's not the exact time. I'm going to look at it. Okay, yeah. Huh?
No clocks in this building.
Oh, we don't have a clock in this. Okay.
Yeah, they don't want a clock in here.
You are?
They don't want clocks in here. So.
That's good. No, that's the way it's supposed to be. No, that's good. That's very good.
They need one in here so the shirim don't go on forever.
The shurim, what?
So the shirim don't go on forever.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got
I remember
the.
hearing Rav Lev one time. He spoke in a pretty good crowd in Renana, and he takes off his watch. He's sitting there, he's looking around. He says, "There's no clock in here." He says, "You people were in for a lot of trouble. There's no clock in here, so I'm going to keep going." He made a joke out of it.
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Okay, everyone, I wish you all a good Shabbos. You should have a lechtige Shabbos. And thank you for coming. And Mitzvah Hashem will pick this up Erev Shavuos Sunday morning with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's help. Kol Tov, everyone.